A Broken Ankle, Broken Dreams by Lily Hardy. Through recent experiences, I've learned a lot about dealing with obstacles. I've also come away from them with many life lessons. For example, a big one is to follow rules. They are there for a reason. Another lesson is to persevere, and also to trust your own judgment. Don't listen to what other people say because only you can know what's best for you. A last lesson is to take baby steps to get through a tough time, because a big jump will almost always knock you down. Those are all lessons that I didn't think of before the obstacle came around, but now I can't believe I didn't realize. It was Labor Day weekend, the Saturday before the first day of school, and I was at my friend Megan Trapp's house at her family's huge end-of-summer party. I was having a really fun time, and I was ready for a week packed full of fun activities. The next day I was going to go shopping for fall clothes with my friends. School was starting soon, I would be resuming a couple of babysitting jobs, and I was getting ready to enjoy the last few days of freedom. One time, at about 9 o'clock, me and Megan and a couple of her friends were jumping on the trampoline. We were having lots of fun, but then some other boys came on. There were 8 people on the trampoline, but there were only supposed to be 5. I was making my way to the exit when I was bounced really high and I landed very hard on my ankle. When I landed, I heard a crack. That's when the unbearable pain began. It was so hard, it brought tears to my eyes. Embarrassed, I tried not to speak, but everyone on the trampoline had noticed what happened. They crowded around me and asked if I was okay, but I reassured them that it would probably just pass. I reached down to feel my ankle, and where there should have been one large bump, I felt many, but I convinced myself it was my imagination. Finally, I tried to stand up, putting a tiny bit of pressure on my ankle. Big mistake. It hurt worse than ever. Taking care not to step on it again, I crawled to the end of the trampoline, and Megan helped me hop over to my parents. I realize now, looking back at it, that I should never have let there be so many people on the trampoline. Had I followed the rules, maybe nothing would ever have happened. That evening, I lay down on a bench for a while before we finally decided to get me x-rayed. We drove for about 15 minutes to the Dobb Ferry Hospital emergency room. After many x-rays, filling out of papers, going around in a wheelchair, and doctors conferring, the doctor told us it was a break and he put me in a splint. 3 days later was the first day of school and also the day that I got my cast on. So I stayed at school for about an hour and then went to the doctor to get a cast on, where he told me to rest and elevated it all possible times. For the first week or so I was miserable and bored, convinced that there was no way to overcome this obstacle. When I was on crutches, all of my friends were beginning to doubt the legitimacy of my injury. After I got my air cast, most of them thought I would be able to walk, so I tried it and ended up crying on the floor for pain. They also thought I could carry my own books while I crutched, which I tried and ended up with my bag and me falling in public. Lastly, they were all convinced that I was able to go up and down stairs, which again I tried, and when I did, I fell and hurt my ankle, and it hurt almost as much as when I first broke it. Everybody's expectations were way too high for me, and when I listened to them it just turned out bad. Now I realize that it was a mistake to let what they said get to me because I know what I am capable of, and no one else does. I also learned that if I did things little by little, it would be an easier way to live normally. I could get around on my knees, I could crutch better and better, I started making videos, going out with my friends, and I was almost back to normal. Now I can walk and I only have to wear my air cast at school. I go to physical therapy too. Taking baby steps was the best way to go. Throughout the experience of breaking my ankle, I learned many lessons, some of which were to follow rules, to trust your own judgment, and to take baby steps to get through a tough time. After going through this experience, I respect these lessons, and soon I'll be able to run, climb, swim, and even jump on a trampoline.